delivery.
That's right.
You guys, I'm getting a massage right now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. My daughter is about to be going to bed, so you guys might be hearing some crying in the
I was
background.
gonna say, should we add her? Should we like introduce her for the episode since we're probably gonna hear her?
Real life, you guys, real life.
It happens, guys.
So,
Film around
guys,
their
I'm excited about this one.
schedule we can get.
You
Yeah,
what?
so
We film around their families and whatever schedule we
I
can
thought you said with eating Gilbert grape.
Me too. I was like eating what? But here I am again about food. So.
So this is going to be about labor and delivery. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, hey, do you guys want to know something? I had a dream the other night that I was pregnant.
I did too.
That you were pregnant or that I was?
No, that I was pregnant. And it was
I did not have that dream.
I cried.
I didn't, but it felt very real.
Maybe you are, Lindsay.
First of all, mind your business.
She's like, I hope not.
Second of all, not yet.
Okay.
She's drinking her glass of wine.
Yeah. I need to enjoy a few more glasses of wine before that, a few more cocktails.
All right.
So let's just jump right in. I know that we all had some pretty interesting labors. Who here was induced and who was not induced? Okay, induced. I was also induced. Were you induced prior to your due date or after your due date?
I was induced prior to my due date because my child was giant.
I was induced after my due date. I remember waking up on Gia's due date and crying, like hysterically bawling, because I thought to myself, why doesn't my child want to come meet me? Like it was very sad. It was like exhausting and frightening. And I just wanted, like, for lack of better words, I just wanted to get it over with. And
eviction
still wasn't here.
Yeah.
I will say,
so how long after?
I didn't get induced. I got induced very quickly after. And I was just going to say that I have a doctor, my OB is in his 70s. He is a self-proclaimed gynosaur, which I love him.
Oh, that's cute.
I love that.
But he's like been through everything. Like he's had, some mishaps where like he's waited too long and he's lost babies. So he errs on the side of caution where he's like, I'm not going to let you go the whole 2 weeks. Like, I don't feel comfortable. What we're going to do is we're going to get you in as soon as possible. And I was supposed to go in the day of my due date. But the whole hospital is filled with babies. And people having babies. So he sent me home. And then a day later, he said, okay, just come back. Let's measure, like he measured my fluids and found out that I was actually like leaking fluid and didn't have enough fluid in my amniotic sac, right? Amniotic sac.
Oh no, that's,
So he sent me home. They talked with the doctors, they talked with the hospital, and then I ended up getting admitted the same night. So it must have been 2 nights, like 2 days later, they measured my fluids, and then they admitted me that night at 7 p.m. and they started my induction. So it was April 12th that I started my induction. And I'll stop there so you guys can catch up with your stories.
But she was, I was induced at 5 a.m. when I hit 36 weeks.
Because of your preeclampsia?
Preeclampsia, yeah. And I was on bed rest and I was already dilated to a 3. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like, yeah, that happened like at 33 weeks. So they like just were like trying to hold off as long as possible. So 5 a.m., 36 weeks, I went in and got it induced.
That's crazy.
That's super uncomfortable induction process. Like my child was very large and I had to go to a specialist to get him measured because they couldn't, I was so, like I said, I was really large. Like they couldn't figure out like if I tested negative for gestational diabetes, but I'm almost positive I had it. Like I said in the last episode. So I had like my membranes swept. It was like just over.
Oh yeah.
And then I had one of those balloon things put in and they like inflate it with saline and it's supposed to dilate you.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Oh, it's just awful. And my husband at the time was traveling a lot, so my mother-in-law was like my partner in crime.
Aw.
But Jeremy was actually moving offices in the middle of all this, and they go, "You're going to the hospital. Let's go." And then the first hospital was full, Lindsay, very much similar to you,
Yeah.
and they would not take me because I was in my 37th week, and they're like, "She's not ready to go," and my doctor's like, "She is ready to go. Like,
Oh.
let's go." So we ended up at a hospital, which that hospital was like around the corner from our house. We ended up like all the way on the other side of town in another hospital, and I called Jeremy, and I was like, "This is gonna take a while. Take your time. You'll be fine."
How long did it take?
34 hours.
Oh, okay, so it did take a while.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So yeah.
It took-
That was after your induction. So were
and I
you
had
hard
Pitocin
laboring?
and, like, oh, jazz.
Were you hard laboring for 34 hours, or like when was your
No, no.
active
I
labor?
was in active labor for
I'm talking like when were your contractions like a minute apart?
Who cares? When they're
didn't
like
know.
5 minutes apart, they were killing me.
Oh, well, because I was in the hospital for
2.5 hours. I pushed for
Oh,
2.5
I
hours.
got you. No, but it hurts either way.
no, I agree, but I was in the hospital I think so overnight Friday, overnight Saturday, and then I like went into like minute apart contractions Sunday morning.
Oh, no,
Even-
mine came quick. So I dilated. So I went in like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on
I never dilated.
no, I went to 10. I pushed for 2.5 hours, and then my child got stuck in the birth,
Because he
like,
was so big.
yeah, like half head out, like up to here.
Oh.
He got stuck, like 100% got stuck, and they looked at me and they're like, "It's your pelvic bone or your baby. I mean, or C-section." And I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, "Come open, like, let's go,
Right.
let's go." So they literally took a hand and they shoved my kid back inside of me.
Oh my goodness.
It was awful. And then they break
Did
your
you have
water,
an epidural?
water break.
Well, I'll give my story after you're done, but I was just curious, like if you were in like active labor for the whole
Yeah,
34
I
hours.
wasn't,
So did you have
no,
contractions,
like
Lindsay?
maybe like 13
Yeah.
hours in. 13 hours in, I was in active labor.
Okay.
So like I remember because I didn't get my epidural until like I couldn't handle it anymore. Like kind of wanted to be like, let's see if I can do this kind of thing. Cause I have like we talked about like having some type of natural labor, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna be drugged. Like just give it to me. Like it's gonna work. But
I never once ever thought I would have a
in the
natural
middle of the
labor.
night,
Never,
he wouldn't
ever.
come.
Never ever thought I would have a natural labor. Never once. Going in was like
I slightly questioned it, and I quickly changed my mind.
my best
I
friend.
would,
My best friend was pregnant the same time as me. She gave birth to her daughter 2 weeks after, and she said it the best. I said, "Do you plan on going natural?" And this is like she knows she's my crunchy granola, like organic mom. But I said to her, "Are you gonna go natural?" She said, "Absolutely not. No need for me to." She's like, "Don't need to be a hero." And I was like, "That is perfectly like the way you said it is perfect."
And I fully felt that at the point where I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, just load me up. Like, load me up. And so my water was broken in the middle of the night, and he wouldn't come because he was stuck. So he wouldn't come. And so they literally shoved a saline hose back up and filled me up just to hold him over for a couple more hours. It was like,
wait, a couple more hours until they would do your C-section? Why didn't they just do your C-section right then?
Because he wasn't dropping and coming down, and they would come in and they would like move me around. It was so bizarre. But like meanwhile, my husband, and this happened in the middle of the night, my husband had like noise canceling headphones on and he was sleeping, and he like opened and he goes, "Should I get up?" I was like, "No, because I'm gonna go to sleep after this baby comes, and it's your job." Like I love my baby, but I took a nap. I had a C-section and I took a nap during my surgery. I was so tired, and I looked at my husband and I was like, "Can I just close my eyes for a little bit?" And he goes, "Go for it." And then once he came out and they brought him out, I opened my eyes. But I felt like that 2 minutes or whatever, however long it was, of like just resting my eyes was like 7 hours of sleep. Like I was so tired.
So what about like after the fact? Were you like did you feel drugged after the fact?
I was very, very drugged. They took me to recovery. They took Jake. Jeremy went with Jake. They took me to recovery, and he didn't like, before he left, I was
Wait,
like,
what do you
"Nobody
mean by
wants to
recovery?
sleep
Did
with
you
me."
go right back to your suite or your room?
No, I went to like a recovery. I don't even remember them thinking about it. No, I did. I went into a recovery room. Yeah, a room. It was a room. I went into a recovery room and I told Jeremy, I said, don't let anybody hold that baby before I do.
Yeah. That was
And
your first.
that was, yeah. And so I wanted to be the first one to hold him other than him. And
Yeah.
like, he followed to the baby, and then he followed with the baby, and then he came back. And when they brought the
I
baby
think
to me,
my
but everybody was
thing
like
is
wanting
that
to see the baby, and he's like, no, like she will kill me if you let me see, if I let you touch this
Yeah.
baby. Like
my
I
thing was
wanted
that
to
I
know
had to
if
see
it's
what
gonna
my
be
baby looks like because my mom always talked about how she never saw my brother because she had a C-section and she never saw what he looked like.
Oh, I did. My guy called, my OB held him up and she goes, congratulations, you had a tank.
No, but that was the thing is that my mom, like, had her first child 35 years ago, she had a C-section and then they never showed her
They
the
could have
baby.
swapped him
That is
out.
so nice.
Well, no, he looks exactly like my dad. So like they did
Okay.
not swap him. Okay, so my birth story goes like this. I was admitted Friday night and I was induced. I went through 3 rounds of induction. I was contracting and my labor nurse, which God bless her, I love her. She was a traveling labor nurse and she's not on social media. I would love to like connect with her, but I'm sure she probably has this often because she travels all the way like from a range from Syracuse to Buffalo, which is like a 3-4 hour span of hospitals that she travels like.
Oh,
So I'm
wow.
sure yeah. But she looked at me and she's like, you're contracting pretty hard right now. Do you feel that? And I was like, no. She was like, you should be like, I have a pretty, like, I fell asleep when I got one of my tattoos. So like my pain tolerance is pretty high. But then they did give me a sedative through my second night. My first night I didn't sleep at all because it was just uncomfortable. My second night he gave me a sedative, like I don't know, a sleep aid, and I slept and then I woke up and I was contracting, but she never dropped. I never dilated. And Darcy, we're all watching you.
Sorry.
And
I'm like, that's in my eyes. And I'm like, you never contracted, you never dilated.
I know. And I contracted the entire time. I never dilated. I never
felt
dropped.
it.
And I kept
So
waiting.
you never felt your contractions?
I felt them like by Saturday evening. I started to really feel them. But like the way she was like, you should be feeling these right now. You don't feel that. I was like, no. But so
did you have an epidural or did you?
no, I'm getting there too. So every story I ever heard was wait until you're 5 centimeters dilated or before you get your epidural. So I'm waiting to like get my epidural because I'm waiting to dilate 5 centimeters. Well, I would have been fucking waiting until today still to get that epidural because I would have never dilated 5 centimeters. And so I'm, finally it comes to Sunday morning and my water hadn't broken yet. They broke my water Sunday. My doctor came home from church, broke my water, and it was filled with meconium. So she had like pooped in the womb.
Yeah.
She was super stressed out from the whole induction. Like basically if they poop in the womb, they are super stressed out from the induction.
You have to, it's toxic.
Yeah. So it was like mild meconium though. So, or I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but it was mild. So they weren't super concerned about that. But they kept, like, I kept getting contractions. And I was laying on my side and my labor nurse, she kept like moving me side to side. And finally, like about 3 hours after they had broken my water, I was feeling my contractions all that morning. Like I was really feeling them. They were uncomfortable. I was like, oh God, this is awful. This is unbearable. But by the time, so it was about 3 hours after they had broken my water, I was laying on my side and she went to go shove me. and I moved super slow, and she was like, you need to move now. And like, she shoved, and like, she's like, you need, like, she shoved me, and like within a half hour, my baby was delivered. They had, like, it was a Sunday, and they had everybody in, they had the room prepped, and they had Gia out within a half hour because they were
amazing how fast doctors work. Isn't that incredible?
they were concerned because the way that she was losing her heart rate, she said the way she's losing your heart rate every time you contract, you should be dilated 8 centimeters, and I had only dilated 3 centimeters.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So like, they were like, something's not right here, like something's going on. And like, in the long run, what had happened was Gia, through the entire pregnancy, had her arm like this, and then she had the cord wrapped twice around her arm, and like, yeah, so like, she was never making it through the birth canal. Like, I had known, like, I had this sense that like I was going to give like birth via C-section. Like, I just knew it was going to come that way, one way or another. It just felt like it was a part of my like birth. Yeah. But so while I was giving birth, while I was getting cut open, a slice right through my womb, my husband joined me in the operating room with his phone so that he could watch Tiger Woods win the Masters while Gia was being born.
No.
Literally, he watched the match winning hole as Gia was being pulled out of my womb. I don't know if that's iconic or if that's like, I don't know.
I think at that point it's like whatever. I don't know. Like,
instead of watching
not a single person in the operating room was like, maybe put your phone away. Like, there's instant replay. You can watch that literally 20 minutes from now. Like,
nobody said anything.
No.
So when I was having my surgery, Jeremy sat in the chair next to me, and the anesthesiologist grabbed him by his shirt and stood up, and he goes, "You're gonna watch this."
Wow.
And he was like, "Oh, okay." This was like almost midnight. My son was born at 11:23. So like, in that like small, which felt like forever, that like they prepped me and then they brought him, it was like 3 or 4 minutes, but it felt like half an hour.
Yeah.
Like we were exhausted and tired. And so he grabbed him by the shirt and he goes, "You're going to watch this and it doesn't matter. Like, you're going to."
Yeah, good. No,
And
they watched my husband watch Tiger Woods win the Masters.
I guess he'll always know where he was when that happened.
Not only that, I mean, we are a pretty big golf family, so it's pretty iconic to us. So like, I struggle with like being like upset that he was watching an entire different event go on as my child was being born. But also the fact that like he was watching a super iconic moment in history, sports history, as my child was being born.
And you guys
he was watching the wrong hole.
Yeah, something dropped into 2 holes and he watched the wrong one.
He was watching a ball go into a hole. He should have been watching a ball coming out of a hole. You know?
Agree. But my testament, my ever standing testament to people saying that I am too uptight is the fact that I married Jonathan Marlowe. So say what you want about me. Say what you want. I'm not that uptight. I married him.
Oh my gosh.
So Darce, we went through our stories. You can tell us about yours.
Oh, got induced at 5 a.m. by 5:28. Wanted an epidural. I was miserable. My nurse was like, "Ma'am, you have not even signed all of your forms yet. You are not even. We have not even done with intake." And I wanted to go as long as I could. I was like, honestly though, like I have a pretty high pain tolerance.
For like 28 minutes.
Yeah, and I was like, I have a pretty high pain tolerance. I'm gonna try to go as long as I can. You know, like no, I was like pissed. And they can't do it that early for like, I literally wasn't even like checked in yet.
You have to kind of sign your life away before they do that.
Right. And
really?
then,
Why did they like ask you to come in at 5 a.m. to induce you?
That's like here, that's what you do. Like you come in around like 5 a.m.
Here it's 7 a.m.
Oh no, we had to check in at 4:30.
Oh wow.
Did you sleep the night before?
No, I was so nervous. So no. But then so I got my epidural whenever they give it to me. And it didn't take
So,
it.
when was that? Like, how long did they actually like make
Oh,
you
I don't
wait?
know, like they probably made me wait till like 10 a.m. or something. I was miserable. It was probably like 8 a.m. Honestly, I don't even know. And it was miserable. And then got it. It didn't take on one side. So they had him come back in and give me more. And then they had me lay flat, but then it all went to my chest. So I stopped, I was paralyzed from the neck down. And then like couldn't breathe and everything. And then they tried getting me back, and then Kennedy stopped breathing. So we both like passed out, and then they rushed me to the emergency C-section. So, and then while I was on the table, I could feel everything. My epidural went out, probably because I got it too early. This was all around. She was born at exactly 4 p.m. So it was not a very long day by any means. It felt like it.
Hours is still pretty like decent.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then they wouldn't let Paul go with me. They rushed me for emergency C-section. They don't allow anyone to go back with you because in case things don't go well.
Really?
Yeah. So
Paul wasn't there?
No. So they told him that they would allow him they would come get him and bring him to the operation room once they cut me open and I had me stable. So
out of all of the dads, I feel like Paul is the most deserving, and he's the one that like wasn't allowed to.
I know. Well, and so what's crazy is I had told him with, all the different decisions you have to make for your birth plan. And one that I did really like was like skin on skin after the baby's born. And I just remember how important that was when you read all the things. So I really wanted it. And I remember telling Paul, if for some reason I can't do skin on skin immediately, you doing it. And he was like, I don't think so. Like, I'm sure you can.
He's like, Daddy.
And that was just something.
Flash forward to today. Kennedy and Paul are still doing skin on skin.
Listen, they did. It's at the beginning.
I'm joking.
No, they really did though. So I had said that, and he was just like, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm sure you'll be fine. You can do it. Well, she came out of me. I felt everything. So they put me under right after she was born. They put her on my chest, took her off, put me under, and then I told Paul, go with Kennedy, whatever happens to me and whatever, like always stay with Kennedy. And so he went with her. And the nurses said he was like, I don't know what to, like, she told me to go with her. So she would like kill me if I don't, but then like, she's not doing okay. And the nurse was like, she'll be fine. We put her under, we'll get her stable. Like you can go. So, and then the nurse said, when they got back to the room immediately, Paul goes, my wife really wanted to do skin on skin, but she's not gonna be able to, can I do it? And the nurse was like, yeah. And he she said he ripped off his shirt and he was like, give her to me. And she was like, okay, well, calm down, Batman. Go ahead and, sit down. And they did skin on skin. And then my parents, I don't know really how long.
So then your parents ripped off their shirt and then they did the skin on skin.
All these skin on skin.
The nurse, I don't know. And she really fine. Skin on skin.
And then there's his like, I'll just watch here.
Yeah, well, so I don't know how long.
You were like skin on skin.
I want skin on skin, people. I don't know how long I was in the operation room for them to get me stable, but apparently my parents asked if they could come back, and Paul was like, yeah, Darcy's still in the operation room, but I've got Kennedy here. So they came in, and the nurse said, I don't know your family dynamic. And the nurse was so sweet, but she told Paul before anyone came back, she said, I don't know your family dynamic, but I just want to let you know, whoever's coming back, maybe don't let them hold Kennedy.
You were going to say, don't let them do skin on skin.
No, she was like, because mama, when mamas wake up after a C-section and all these people have held the baby, they're upset. And so Paul was like, okay, so my mom, she tells the story of this day. She walked up and she was like, Kennedy. And she went to go touch her nose, and Paul goes, don't touch her. Paul goes, oh, is everything okay? He goes, well, Darcy hasn't touched her yet. And my mom was like, oh, okay. Okay. And so the nurse said, it was just, Paul was so cute. And the nurse said she did so well.
It's so cute.
But they have
I'm not
such
surprised though, out of any dad who's going to step up to the plate and make sure that
oh yeah,
it's going to be Paul.
He was so good. And they have such a close bond, and they're so
yeah,
so
I will
good.
say John did do skin on skin, and he did it often, skin on
right.
I'll let you, I was gonna say, I don't know if it was really a huge thing 10 years ago, but they have made it
huge.
so prevalent, like skin on skin, skin on skin. Everyone's got to
Yeah.
do skin on skin. And so
Skin
like
on skin.
literally, yeah, like John was like I didn't ask him, like I think I might have like in passing been like, do you want to do it? And like he was like, I had the shirt on. Like
It's so
is
different,
it
you know,
my
you just don't
turn?
know. Yeah.
But okay, so I also want to talk about how okay, so Darcy's experience was different. She wasn't with Paul, and she had the baby taken out of the room before she was taken out of the room. My experience was that my husband was in the room, and they took the baby, did all the like the measurements, the foot, everything in the operating room as they were sewing me back up.
Me too.
So like I wasn't that neither me nor my baby were leaving that room alone. Like we were getting everything done. Like she got all of her measurements and all of her first time baby stuff done while I was getting sewn up. And I had this cute assistant to my OB, his name is Sean, and he was like, so my OB was done doing his part, and I was like, Sean, what's going on down there? Like, we good? Like, what's going on? And he's like, just making you pretty, darling. Like, don't worry about it. And like me and Sean and my husband and Gia all like hung out in the operating room until I was done. And then once I was done, they put Gia on my like they literally like pulled down the gown, put Gia on my chest, and rolled me through the hallways back to my room like that. But also I was completely doped up, and then we had like my only thing was that I wanted 1 hour of just me and my family, like me and my John and Gia together before my family came in, because I love my family to death, but they are super intrusive, and like they would have been in the operating room with me. Like if I said, okay, come on in, they would have been in the operating room. So my only thing was I needed 1 hour with, you know, the golden hour with my family.
Yeah.
But by that time, like I was even more doped up than like when I had gotten out of the operating room. Like I don't like people were talking.
I didn't remember. Like I didn't remember doing that. Like I don't remember. I remember like waking up in the recovery, but I felt
Wait, so were you both under while you were getting your C-sections, like completely?
No, I was awake. I took a nap.
Okay,
I was awake during it, but like they quickly realized I could feel everything, so they put me under.
So no, what?
I couldn't recovery. I fell asleep. Like I literally after they showed me the baby and they weighed him and they measured him and all that stuff, they took Jake because he had this, because he got stuck. He had this giant, like it almost looked like Harry Potter, like a lightning bolt type of scar on his head. And so they took him to check him out because I tried pushing and he got stuck. So they wanted to make sure that like everything was fine, I guess. So I sent Jeremy. That's when I sent Jeremy with him. I was like, go. Nobody touches him. Like nobody can hold him. I'll meet you wherever I'm going.
Yeah. See, I didn't like, I must have had like the like textbook, like what you want your first C-section to go like, because I didn't.
Of course you did.
I didn't leave the operating room without, no, okay. Here's the thing, Alma, is things do not happen good to me. Okay.
Everything just does. It seems to. You're like the person.
No, are you, wait, this is coming from you? The only reason things happen well to me is because I plan for them. Otherwise, everything that can go wrong goes wrong in my life.
I mean, you didn't plan for your labor and delivery and stuff. That all went really well. Gia's a great sleep.
It went really well. Yeah. I was in there for 36 hours before I had a C-section.
That's true. Well, the C-section went well.
It says that none of us planned for C-sections and we all got them. But I think it's incredible that
I think it's so cool that we all three had C-sections. I didn't.
Yeah.
That's rare.
But as far as C-sections go, yes, I agree that mine was really well. But I also think that that's not like, it wasn't in my best interest. I think it's just how my hospital operates that I got really lucky.
No, what I loved about our hospital, there was no nursery. Like
neither. There's not one at ours.
I had.
Oh, there was one at ours.
Yeah,
I could have sent
it's
Gia,
a
but
whole
I
community for 24 hours though. Like every time they gave her to me, once I woke up, I was just vomiting and bleeding, and my stitches were coming out. Like I don't know when I finally got to hold her. I think she was over 24 hours old probably. I just couldn't hold her every time that I was so drugged up from the medicine because I had like my epidural and then like pain medicine from when I was not doing well. And then when they found out I could feel everything, they gave me more medicine to put
so
me
wait,
under.
you didn't say anything when you could feel it? Because like when I
I was screaming, but you guys know I'm dramatic. And
Right.
I've been to the same doctor since I was 15.
Oh, well,
And
because
so
I had the same issue where I
he
felt,
just thought I was being like, you know, a little over dramatic, but I was like,
yeah,
and then finally the anesthesiologist said, I mean, after Kennedy was out, said, I think she can feel everything. And my doctor was like, well, then put her under. And, you know, the doctor was like, stat, you know, where,
why didn't the
you know,
anesthesiologist like gear that or
don't
like
know.
that
I
seems
don't know.
confusing. But
'Cause
you know, 'cause,
I-
like that happened to me too, actually, within my operate, like they were shoving a catheter at me and I was like, whoa. And she
Oh.
was like, oh, you can feel that? I was like, yeah, I can feel that. And she's like, oh, that's not good. And then that's when my anesthesiologist pushed more medication into me.
Well, so I didn't yeah, I don't know. Mine was,
I mean,
mine
I
was
don't think
different
it's up
because
for
it was
you
all
to like decipher. I think that at that point it was on your anesthesiologist.
right. I was gonna say, and it was all emergency, so it wasn't like.
Well,
are
so
you
was
ready?
mine.
Right. Right.
Yeah, mine was emergency.
All of ours were emergency.
All of them were emergency.
Which is incredible. I find that like 3 of it, like
Wait,
at least one of
so
us-
you had walked
yeah.
away, Dars, but I was saying how like I like was laying on my side and my labor nurse went to go push me and I was like going really slowly and she's like, you need to move now. And what had happened was that like the way that Gia was losing her heart rate when I would contract, I should have been dilated 8 centimeters, but I was only dilated 3, and come to find out that like it was cutting off her circuit, like she wasn't breathing. So
I got dilated to an 8.
Oh, I got dilated 3 centimeters.
It made it all the way.
But that's why I never got an epidural, was because I kept hearing in my mind, everyone saying, wait till 5 centimeters, wait till 5 centimeters. And I was waiting.
I never heard of that either.
Yeah,
I heard like waiting until a
Well, they say
decent time, but I
slows
still
down
asked
your
for
labor.
it.
Like they say that it does slow down your labor, but I never heard like
it
waiting.
slows
till-
down your dilation, I heard.
See, I heard once you get the epidural, it relaxes you, so you go faster.
No. I'm talking about
It slows your
Pitocin.
labor.
Like I'm sorry, I used the wrong word. When you have Pitocin put in,
Oh, yes, I
that
gotcha.
slows down your labor. Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah.
No, Pitocin is what?
No.
Are you talking
Pitocin
about like
is-
if you're already laboring and then someone puts Pitocin in?
No, Pitocin helps you dilate. So, but it also
But
slows
it
the-
induces
slows the
labor too.
down. Yeah, but it slows the labor, it slows the process down, but you dilate. So if you're not dilating, they put Pitocin in to help speed up the dilation.
Right,
it
but
also-
but you were correct in saying so does an epidural.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah. That's
thought you
why. That's why
relaxed
people
during
said, but that's why, because you're relaxed, so you're no longer focused on
On the pushing.
moving through your labor because you're not feeling it as much.
Right. So then I thought that's how it sped up your
I was told to wait until 5 centimeters to get your epidural because otherwise you're going to slow down your laboring. But everyone hears something different. I don't know if that really matters one way or the other because we've all made it through our labors.
That is so, isn't that so weird how you can, and like the stuff I was saying earlier that I heard for a birth plan, y'all didn't worry about that stuff.
No.
And then when I had number 2, it was scheduled and I showed up at a certain time and I was delayed because there was a couple of emergencies that came in. But like, I was supposed to have him at 10 and I ended up having him at 1 and they just took me back and gave me my spinal. And
Was your second one pretty flawless too? I mean, like, or was it easier than your first one because it was
well,
planned?
yeah,
and
because
scheduled?
I didn't have all the trauma from like trying to push a baby out. So it was easy, like as far as like they took me back, they sliced me open, they pulled him out, they stitched me up, and I went back with him. Like it was simple.
Yeah, I've heard that planned C-sections are nice.
Yeah, so much easier than the other one. The other one is like a blur almost, to be honest.
Wait,
like,
so is it like standard though that if you have a C-section within your hospitals that like you're not going to leave the operating room with your children? Or do you
no,
not know?
I went with Jaden. I left with
You
him.
did. What about Jake? It wasn't the same hospital.
No, it wasn't the same hospital, but with Jake, they took him back to get him checked out because he got stuck.
Because of the
Yeah, and so he
Right.
had like giant. It looked like somebody like a suction cup, and then within that suction cup, like he had like almost like a gash, but there was no blood.
See, I guess I think what my upside to everything is that I was laboring, but Gia just never dropped. So I never had any issues of her potentially or possibly going through the birth canal because she was like, I'm not leaving.
She's like,
I'm staying
coming
until
for a
college if I
while."
can.
Lindsay, did you bleed for weeks after though?
Oh my God, like 2 months.
Okay, yeah. Or
Oh,
yeah,
that's
months.
your
Yeah,
name,
okay.
diaper pads, and
Yeah.
they like
Yeah,
come up with your
I
belly.
made a TikTok about that and people were like, oh my God, you're being so dramatic. I bled for like 3 days and I want to be like, who
Oh.
are you?
Yeah,
no
Who
kidding.
are you? Because I bled for like 3 weeks or 3
No, I
months.
think longer. I think I bled for longer.
I bled for 3 months and then I got my period at 5 months. So
hard pass.
It was like mesh underwear and giant diaper pads.
yeah, and I used those mesh underwear from the hospital far longer than I should have because I kept trying to find like underwear that
my friend loved them, and this was
I
before
would wash them. Did you
Amazon-
wash them?
before, like, Amazon Prime, you know? And so yeah, she got extras before she left because she loved them. She goes, because you can't feel them, they don't cut in anywhere.
You can't find any underwear like that. Even on Amazon Prime, you can't find those.
So when I had my second, they made C-section undies, and they were amazing. And I found them at Bye Bye Baby. I don't know if you guys have that there. It's like,
Oh,
Yeah.
and they, so like you wore the underwear and you could pull it up like a Spanx all the way up to your boobs, and it would just kind of hold you together, and you didn't feel like your insides were gonna fall out of your crotch.
yeah.
It was
Did
great.
you guys wore those the like things after the
Yeah.
girdles?
Yeah.
Those things were so uncomfortable.
Oh, I loved it because I felt put together. I didn't feel
Well,
like
sure, but it was still like you couldn't breathe. Like you like
no.
Yeah.
No.
okay. I think we, for the sake of time here, let's go and move on to our hot topic. Okay, so what are we gonna do? 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me add this on. So our hot topic today is visitors in the hospital, yes or no?
I'm gonna go last because I have a story.
Okay. My answer is I would definitely add or let people come in and visit. I was even during flu season and I still say yes. And my reason for that is because I don't want you coming to my house. Like I want you to come.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I want you to come visit, meet my kid, and then give me all the alone time at my house where I'm trying to like sleep train my child and like get on a schedule and like just not be sleep deprived. So
Yeah, that's a good point. I think before I was like, yeah, sure, people can come up, but I was so sick afterwards and like still coming off the meds and vomiting. And so like I had her at 4 p.m. I stayed 2 nights because of a C-section, and like that next evening, so like 24 hours after she was born, people were wanting to come up, and I was just like,
wait,
I'm What were you say?
so for your C-section, they only offer you 2 nights, not 4?
No,
Yeah,
we only stay 2 nights. No, we only stay 2 nights here. And so I was still vomiting and I hadn't showered and I was still bleeding and I was just like uncomfortable. And at 24 hours, I just barely got to hold my daughter. So people still, came up, but I was just like, no, and so now, but because of that, I don't go see my friends at the hospital. Like I just don't even ask. My very, very best friend, Callie, had a baby, and I I sent her like pizza when she got home, sent us, but I did not even ask to go up there because I don't want to put them in a position to have to say yes when they don't want me to. So
see, it's so funny you say that because I'm a baby wise mom, so I do not want people to put me in the position to say yes, come to my house. Because because I know that you didn't start your schedule right away, but I started our baby wise schedule from day one.
Right. Well, I think mine was mostly like medical. Like I was not.
Oh,
okay.
I know.
Right. So like I was just not okay to have people like with baby wise. I know you wanted to be on a schedule, but you could like.
Agree. But that was like my reasoning. I don't want people to come to my house. I want people to come in. Like I said, like people, like I wasn't sick. Like I was like lightheaded and like I left the hospital like anemic. Like I shouldn't have been leaving the hospital, but my doctor was like, just eat a few steaks, you'll be fine. But like but they allowed us to stay 4 nights at the hospital, and I only opted to stay 2. Which next time I will definitely say all 4 because take care of my kid for 4 days. Absolutely. Take care of my kid.
I was so ready to go home.
But it's so wild that like that's not the norm across
No.
every state, but
What
no,
about if
but-
you have a vaginal? How many days?
It's just, I think dismissal the next day.
Oh, it's
14
just one
hours.
night for us.
Yeah.
no, 2 for vaginal, 4 for C-section.
1 for vaginal, 2 for C-section.
See, I got
Right.
But
5
Alma,
with
you,
the first one and 4 with the second one.
Alma, tell us your story because I know it's a good one. I'm excited to hear about it.
So I was in labor for a really long time, and so our friends started, like, you know, we were some of the first to have kids, so our friends started coming to the hospital just in the
They were
waiting
ready to car tape.
and they were coming in, we were playing cards, we were watching movies. Like, I was there like for the long haul because I was there forever. And so we literally, by the time that this child arrived, people flew in. There was like 25 or 30 people in the waiting room. Pizza was ordered, and we ordered from this place that we eat at all the time, where like the delivery guy would like just like walk in.
What was the date of the delivery?
So the date of the delivery was February 18th at 11:23 p.m. of
Was
2011.
that wasn't during flu season?
2011. No,
Okay.
our flu season is like October. Yeah, October,
January?
November, because when I had Jaden in October, there was like the flu signs in the hospital.
Yeah, like meaning you can only have 3 visitors at a time during
No.
flu season, right? Oh,
Yeah,
well, for us,
it
in
didn't
flu-
that didn't happen either. But like, so we had pizza, and then the pizza place even sent us like a onesie that said like I was born with spinatos, and they sent like cookies and cannolis like with congratulations.
that's cute.
And we had people legit, I was there for 34 hours. So people made flights, like they booked flights and they flew in. And so
I love that.
throughout the whole thing, we have pictures, like if you can go on my Facebook and actually check it out. But like there's pictures of like in the album of Jacob like being born, of like so many people coming in and like hugging and playing cards. And it was just a giant
The
party.
good old days.
It was great. Except
Was
the
it like that for Jaden?
section
Oh.
I couldn't eat. So like I ordered this delicious pizza and I couldn't eat it.
Right.
I was really bummed. Really,
Yeah.
really bummed. And then with my
Yeah.
second one, our best friends got married. So Jaden was born on October 17th. Our anniversary is October 18th. And our best friends got married on the 19th. And I had like a tent sized like bridesmaid dress. I was determined to be at that wedding. It didn't happen, obviously. But like between wedding guests and friends there too, after that child was born. But I was sick like you after that child, Darcy. I was vomiting. I had a trash can like this. And my close friends came in and they held the trash can and held my hair back. But like it was rough. That was rough.
So it was not the same experience as like the party with the first.
No,
I still think it's so cool that your first one was such a cool experience with parties and stuff.
it was
Yeah.
so fun.
Because mine was so traumatic that I won't even go see my best friend at the hospital. Because I'm
I
like,
don't
you
remember
Callie,
being
call
so
her.
doped. I remember being so doped up that like I breastfed. You know how it's like hurts a lot, like to like it's when I breastfed enough to like suck in my stomach, but I was still so doped up that I never felt that. I never felt the contractions of your stomach.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Like,
good
they-
though, but ugh.
No, see, we're Jewish. So like my kids got circumcised at home 8 days after they
Oh,
were
wow.
So from the moment that my kids are born, like it is a constant party till day number 8. So like people, everybody, like we have so many like amazing friends and family, but like we lost our housekeeper the day that our kid was born. So like people went to my house and they cleaned so we could have like, 80, 90
That's
people
nice.
over for the bris.
People had
Yeah.
people definitely threw parties at my house.
And they
For a
just
long
showed,
time
yeah,
after.
it was great. So like, I mean, I can't ask for better friends.
I think that's fun.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a different take because we did not have parties. So
Oh, I had a bunch of parties
I
at my
used to
house
have a
after the
party.
fact, and I wanted to just sleep and cry a lot. I cried a lot, but that's for a postpartum story.
yeah, no kidding. That was me too.
Anyway, you guys, drop us some comments. Let us know about your labor. It was fun chatting with everybody. We will, again, just like we said last week, we
Yeah,
will
let us know what you went
definitely
through.
get somebody who maybe a labor and delivery nurse, somebody who can give us a lot of insight on this topic and a lot of knowledge. And we will be back with a vengeance with this one.
That's right.
Yeah.
So have a great night. Enjoy a cocktail, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.